In case you missed it, recent reports revealed that YNW Melly's legal team has requested a delay in his trial until 2026, citing serious concerns about his mental and physical health. Shockingly, Melly has now spent over 7 years behind bars, without a conviction enduring conditions described as even worse than death row. Renowned attorney Bradford Cohen, who once represented Melly, reflected on the situation, stating, "When I handled this case 7 years ago, I said it needed to go to trial within the first 6 months. The state was unprepared, the investigation was sloppy, and the witnesses were inconsistent. Speed was the key to winning." Unfortunately, Melly chose a different legal strategy, one that ultimately led to his prolonged imprisonment. During a recent court session, the judge officially announced the exact number of days Melly has been incarcerated, leaving many stunned by the timeline.
No, but let me repeat myself. Mr. Demons has to make an informed decision about who he wants as lawyers. He's now been sitting in our jail for 2,159 days. So, how long would you like to be able to make that decision?
I can't determine when the investigation will be over. That's up to the Broward Sheriff's Office. But I can, as I said, I'm just asking for, and then I'm asking for at least a day or two.
You can decide by tomorrow. I've also reserved all of tomorrow.
Even the judge was shocked to learn that Melly has been locked up for over 2,000 days without a verdict. Expressing his frustration, the judge demanded that prosecutors present a solid reason why Melly shouldn't be released, warning that if they couldn't, he would consider granting bond. This dramatic moment in court sparked a wave of reactions, including a response from Melly's mother, who spoke out about the renewed attempt to secure her son's release and the emotional toll it's taken on their family.
Just still praying. I know I said I would give, I'll keep everybody updated with what's happening. I know right now we're waiting. So basically the judge is going to do, I guess, a written order. So we're just waiting, and that order can come any minute, or it could come tomorrow. I don't know. So we're just waiting. We're just waiting. So everybody just keep praying, keep having faith. Oh, Tessa, stop. I've been crying too. It's been a long time coming, you know.
Melly's legal team recently submitted a new bond proposal that quickly made headlines. In the filing, his attorneys offered an undisclosed bond amount, which would be fully covered by his record label, 300 Entertainment. They assured the court that if granted release, Melly would remain under strict house arrest, be fitted with an ankle monitor, and have 24/7 private security to monitor his every move. The proposal was seen as so promising that one rapper even commented, "That boy Melly coming home. I feel it." As part of the bond push, Melly's team also planned to present disturbing evidence collected by his mother, proof that he's been subjected to inhumane treatment while in custody.
You saw Melly's statement just saying how he's been hurt, how he's scared for his life. As a mother, how did that make you feel?
It's heartbreaking. It made me feel completely helpless. Broward Sheriff's Office definitely needs to be investigated. I mean, they are making up their own rules. We've tried to go to court about this situation. The judge really doesn't have any jurisdiction when it comes to the jail, because we actually had a hearing about the mistreatment of him, and the jail they make their own rules. And I don't think that's fair, because I know that they need to answer to someone too.
Melly's lawyers also highlighted crucial GPS evidence, showing that as the shooting occurred, Melly was actually fleeing the scene, not participating in it. According to the data, he ran from the area and hid in nearby bushes during the alleged drive-by, which they argue supports his innocence and contradicts the prosecution's narrative.
That would be the part of me saying that someone just shot the car up and was trying to shoot him. So I asked him if he was okay, where he was, and he's like, "There's cars coming behind him, like hiding." He was like, "There's some, yeah." He's like, "Yeah, there's some. I think they're still out here or something." So I'm like, "Are you okay?" He's like, "I'm okay." I said, "Well, where are Sack and Juby?" And he said, "I don't know if they're in the car. I think they're..."
To further support Melly's innocence, his lawyers pointed out that the firearm used in the crime was never recovered. They argued that this supports their theory that the real shooter was involved in a drive-by and fled the scene with the weapon, leaving no physical evidence linking Melly to the gun or the crime itself.
So the first thing is I didn't have a firearm, so I can't know which firearm I'm going to use in order to replicate any of my tests. So I can't make tests for this determination because I don't know what was used.
Okay.
But prosecutors weren't backing down, in fact. They ramped up their case against Melly. In a major update, they revealed new evidence that could seriously damage his defense. According to them, Melly was unknowingly caught on video confessing to the murders of Sack Chaser and Juvie. Even more shocking, just 5 hours after the killings, surveillance footage allegedly shows Melly and Bortland celebrating in a parking lot, laughing and clapping, which the prosecution claims is proof of guilt rather than innocence.
Melly still turned regardless of what happened this early morning. He's still out here being very positive. Turned still. Hey! No, still turned. Regardless of what happened, you already know.
The footage clearly shows that neither Melly nor Bortland appeared the least bit affected by the deaths of their close friends. Prosecutors connected this clip with earlier surveillance footage showing Melly and the other YNW members getting into the Jeep. Melly is seen leaving the studio and taking a seat in the back left of the vehicle, the same spot where prosecutors believe he positioned himself before the shooting of Sack Chaser and Juvie took place.
Excuse me, you're able to see? Yes, all right.
According to official court documents, the trajectory of the bullets traveling from left to right inside the vehicle supports the theory that the shots were fired from the back left seat, the exact spot where Melly was sitting. Prosecutors further strengthened their case by referencing a statement from Juvie's mother, who confirmed the seating arrangement that night, aligning with the forensic evidence.
Can you state your name? Your full legal name for the jury?
Leon Phillips.
Okay. And are you related to one of the kids in this case?
Yes, I am.
How's so?
I'm his mother.
And who is that?
Christopher Thomas.
Ms. Phillips, did you see who entered into the occupants who entered into that gray Jeep?
Yes.
Do you recognize where your son entered that gray Jeep?
Yes.
Which seat, if you can identify for the jury?
He got in the back seat on the right hand side.
Did you recognize the individual that got into the back seat on the left side, the rear driver's side?
Yes.
And who was that individual?
Janelle.
Prosecutors kept pushing forward, repackaging old evidence and now working behind the scenes to cut deals with both Bortland and Melly's ex-girlfriend in hopes of turning them into witnesses against him. Melly's ex was actually scheduled to testify during his first trial but vanished overseas, avoiding court by hiding outside the U.S. for the past 3 years. However, once she finally returned to the country, authorities immediately arrested her, signaling that her testimony might now play a key role in the case.
Maya Hamilton is spending her first day at the Broward County Jail. She has no arrest record until now. U.S. Border Patrol agents arrested her at Miami International Airport Monday after she arrived on an international flight. Court records show Hamilton was ordered to testify in Demon's first trial in 2023.
The judge granted Melly's ex-girlfriend Mariah release under one condition: she had to sign an agreement stating she would testify in Melly's upcoming trial. Shortly after, Mariah took to Facebook, writing, "Thank you to my village. I love y'all so much. God's plan, not mine." Her testimony is expected to focus on serious witness tampering allegations involving Melly. Investigators reportedly accessed her iCloud account and uncovered disturbing evidence that could be used against him. What makes this even more critical is that if Melly is convicted of witness tampering, he could face a life sentence regardless of whether he's found innocent in the murders of Sack Chaser and Juvie.
Filing 6 new charges against Demons and 2 others who were allegedly involved. The charges include tampering with a witness, directing the activities of a criminal, solicitation or conspiracy to commit tampering, and unlawful use of a two-way communication device. Now, a couple of those charges actually carry a life in prison sentence if there's a conviction.
Due to the witness tampering allegations, Melly has been banned from using jail phones for over a year, as authorities fear he could further interfere with the ongoing case. This strict communication ban has deeply affected his family. His mother, who expressed her frustration and heartbreak during a recent interview, speaking out about how difficult it's been not being able to speak to her son during such a critical time.
My son has not been convicted of anything, and even other inmates that have been convicted or anything, they have the right to use a telephone. They have a right to be allowed to write letters to their loved ones, to receive their mail. They hold his mail, they don't give it to him.
However, the real threat to Melly's freedom may come from Bortland himself. Prosecutors are now pressuring Bortland to flip and testify against Melly, something that could seal Melly's fate. This move is especially likely because, During the first trial, Melly's defense team attempted to shift the blame onto Bortlen. Feeling betrayed, Bortlen may now be motivated to cooperate with the prosecution, and if he does, his testimony could lead to Melly being sentenced to life in prison.
Those were his lies. Cortland Henry shows up at Memorial Hospital, Miramar. You don't see him sitting there, but where you will see him sitting is in the driver's seat of a car, two bodies, car riddled with bullets. And when he shows up with a change of clothing, change of shirt, powder residue on his hands, evidencing that he had discharged a firearm. And he lies. He lies about where the incident occurred. He lies about how it occurred. And he lies about not having a phone. I think it was Miss Bradley herself who said, everybody has a phone in his pocket, not Cortland Henry.
It was later revealed that Bortlen has allegedly been lying to federal investigators from the beginning. According to Melly's team, Bortlen is the one who had gunpowder residue on his hands and was physically present with Juvie and Sackazer. When they were killed, to support this claim, the defense even brought in an investigator who testified about the gunpowder evidence found on Bortlen, casting further doubt on his credibility and raising serious questions about who was truly responsible for the murders.
So the right hand of Cortland Henry contained 0 particles characteristic of heart residue and two component particles. And the left hand contained 1 particle characteristic of heart residue and 1 2-component particle.
Okay. And can you explain to us what that means?
Basically, overall, there was heart residue present on the hand.
Bortlen didn't take this lightly. After Melly's mistrial, he posted a cryptic tweet saying, "Mind games don't work on people like me," followed by a handshake emoji sparking speculation that he might be open to striking a deal. Prosecutors are now pushing to have Bortlen and Melly tried together in the retrial, a strategic move that could increase pressure on Bortlen to flip and testify against Melly, making the prosecution's case much stronger.
Here, and you can try them together. It is to the benefit of the state to try them together. It just more efficient. You don't have to do things again and again. Do it all at once, and also you get a better chance of having them incriminate each other during the trial. It benefits the defense to sever it. That way they can point the finger at each other and get away with it. So this is what's going on. But I don't think it should be automatically severed because the state is seeking a penalty for Melly, because it's only the penalty phase of the trial that would be different, not the guilt phase. The guilt phase is the same. They're both capital crimes. You're seeking the penalty on one, not the other, but that goes into the second part of the trial, the penalty phase, only if Melly is found guilty.
If Bortlen ends up facing murder charges for a crime he believes he didn't commit, it's unlikely he'll quietly accept a life sentence. Prosecutors are banking on this pressure to push him into cooperating. Adding to the heat, they plan to use footage from Bortlen's interrogation on the night of the murders, evidence they believe could expose inconsistencies in his story, and further motivate him to turn on Melly in order to save himself.
Okay, tell me what happened.
Man, I was playing music, getting off the exit. I was already getting sleepy, almost home, you know what I'm saying? And like, just out of nowhere, like, I just heard, you know what I'm saying? So, and I ducked down, you know what I'm saying, in the car, and I almost crashed the car.
Let me back you up a few minutes. Where were you coming from?
I was coming from the studio, from Fort Lauderdale.
Fort Lauderdale studio. Which way did you take?
I took I-75, 595 to
75.
Yeah.
Then you took 75.
But it's becoming increasingly clear that Bortlen's story doesn't align with the evidence collected at the crime scene. Investigators have identified key inconsistencies, and it's only a matter of time before those contradictions catch up with him. As the case unfolds, Bortlen is at serious risk of being exposed for life, putting even more pressure on him to cooperate with prosecutors and testify against Melly.
Here's the hard part where we're having a hard time to understand, is that we shut down that entire area, and we had officers shoulder to shoulder walk it out. They didn't find as much as one shell casing. They didn't find one piece of glass. Nothing. Nothing to what you said adds up. And it's hard.
Bro, I'm telling you, bro, that's the class.
I mean, for whatever reason, your two friends Are these your good friends?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. These my like,
these your two, I'm assuming close friends.
Yo.
And you're doing them an in-service by not telling us the truth.
I'm telling you the truth, son. I don't like. How? What do you want?
How do you make shell casings disappear?
I don't know. How can I tell you about a shell case?
Bortlen became so frustrated with the situation that he eventually stopped cooperating altogether, refusing to speak with investigators. His silence spoke volumes, signaling the growing tension and pressure he's facing as the case against him, and Melly continues to build.
Story, and that's it, bro. I don't even talk about it anymore. Like, cause I told y'all, like, I don't know, like, I don't know.
Okay, just so you know, all right, because you're saying, well, I don't want to talk anymore. There's going to be a lot more questions. There's, and we're not trying to piss you off. The thing is, we don't know your friends.
Yeah.
So the reason we have to ask all these questions, because the more we know about your friends, your lifestyle, your friend's lifestyle, your friends, his friends, and the circumstances surrounding today, the more, the easier it's going to be for us to try and solve this.
However, the officer shifted the tone of the conversation by steering it in a different direction, asking Bortlen about other details from that night, such as how he was driving, whether he crashed into anything, and other seemingly minor events. This tactic was likely used to ease the tension and get Bortlen talking again.
And I'm driving, ducking for my life, trying to make sure I don't get hit. And you telling me, you telling me about shit. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. I'm driving. I'm trying to make sure I don't get hit. You know what I'm saying? What I'm gonna be worried about? You know what I'm saying?
I know it's not for you to worry about.
That shit crazy, bro.
But if you tell me it happened there's got to be some evidence there. There's going to be broken glass, just like there's broken glass over here when you guys open the doors and stuff like that. Okay, there's going to be broken glass over there when the windows got out. There's going to be casings from the people at your car. Okay, there's going to be evidence over there. Okay, right now there's nothing. I kind of think I know what happened because I got it.
As the clock ticked down on their limited interrogation window, the officer decided to go straight to the point, asking Bortlen directly, "If you know who did this, would you tell me?" The question hung in the air, blunt and loaded pudding. Bortlen on the spot and testing whether he'd finally break his silence.
By just telling me the truth, even if it's something that I don't want to hear, but I respect the truth rather than BS, okay? And it's a simple question. If you knew who did this, okay? You may or may not know. If you knew who did this, would you tell me? It's either a yes or no question. Answer.
Honestly.
Yeah, honestly. The truth. You wouldn't?
Because I wouldn't want to be a part of it. I wouldn't want to.
Strangely, instead of responding with words, Bortlen simply shook his head no. It seemed like a calculated move. He was clearly worried that if he spoke and wasn't telling the truth, his voice might crack or his body language might give him away by staying silent and avoiding verbal answers. He was trying to control the situation and not reveal anything that could be used against him.